Buying your first boat feels like unlocking a dream. Freedom, adventure, sunsets at anchor, but let me tell you, there's a whole lot more beneath the surface than glossy brochures and daydreams let on. Before you hand over that hard-earned cash, there are a few truths every new sailor should hear. In this video, I'm sharing 10 things I wish I knew before buying my first boat. Some of these could save you thousands, others might just save your sanity. Let's dive in. When you look at boats online or on the dock, the price tag might seem manageable, even tempting. But here's the truth. The sticker price is only the start. The real cost of owning a boat includes insurance, marina fees, maintenance, repairs, gear upgrades, registration, haul-outs, and countless little surprises that pop up along the way. Once that boat is yours, you'll need safety equipment, spares, tools, and more lines than you think you'll ever use. Then there's the big-ticket stuff: sails, rigging, electronics, batteries, and maybe even a new dinghy or outboard. Things wear out or break, whether you're sailing or not. Don't forget about upgrades. The autopilot might be outdated, the cushions might need replacing, or maybe the anchor chain is too short. Even the smallest projects add up, both in time and money. It's not uncommon to spend half, or even equal to, the purchase price just getting a boat truly ready for comfortable cruising. So when budgeting for a first boat, always plan for the hidden half, knowing that up front can keep your dreams afloat and your wallet from sinking. It's not about avoiding the costs, it's about being ready for them. There's a lot to love about older boats: classic lines, sturdy builds, and a lower purchase price. But beneath that charm can lie some expensive and time-consuming surprises. Time and weather take a toll on fiberglass, wood, and metal. Unless a boat has been meticulously maintained, things like deck core rot, hidden corrosion, or outdated wiring can turn a good deal into a never-ending project. Structural issues can hide behind nice paint jobs or recent cosmetic upgrades. A boat might look great above the waterline, but have tired rigging, a worn-out engine, or rudder problems lurking below. And if the boat's been sitting for a while, systems like plumbing, fuel lines, and electronics may all need replacing. Even small issues add up fast: leaking hatches, cracked windows, sticky winches, or delaminated panels. These aren't always obvious until you're deep into ownership, and then it's you footing the bill and doing the work. The key is a thorough inspection and realistic expectations. Older boats aren't bad, but they do require a sharp eye and honest budgeting. Knowing what to look for and when to walk away can make all the difference between a dream project and a floating headache. Hiring a marine surveyor might seem like a formality, just someone to check the boxes before you buy. But the truth is, the quality of your surveyor can make or break your entire purchase. A good one can save you from buying a boat with hidden issues. A bad one might miss something major, leaving you with thousands in surprise repairs. Some surveyors are incredibly thorough, crawling into tight spaces, tapping the deck for soft spots, inspecting rigging, checking electrical systems, and reviewing the engine with a fine-tooth comb. Others might breeze through the job, snap a few photos, and hand you a report that's more boilerplate than detailed. The marine survey industry isn't tightly regulated in many places, so experience, reputation, and specialization matter. It's worth taking the time to find someone with solid credentials and real hands-on knowledge of the type of boat you're buying. Don't just accept the seller's recommendation. Do your own homework. The surveyor is your last line of defense before you commit. They don't just help assess the value of the boat, they help protect your investment, your safety, and your future plans. Choose wisely, and you'll start your sailing journey with eyes wide open. Sailing gets all the glory: wind in the sails, sunsets on the horizon, dolphins in the bow wave. But the part no one tells you up front is that keeping a boat seaworthy requires a whole different set of skills. You're not just learning how to sail, you're learning how to maintain a small, floating home that moves, shakes, and wears out under constant exposure to the elements. From engines and plumbing to rigging and electrical systems, every system needs attention. Something always needs tightening, cleaning, replacing, or troubleshooting. And if you're cruising or living aboard, it's often up to you to fix it, whether you're anchored in a remote bay or tied to a marina far from your home country. Boat maintenance isn't just about tools and elbow grease, it's about time, patience, and often a bit of creativity. Manuals only get you so far, and YouTube videos can only help if you have the right spares on board. Learning how to do basic repairs, understand your systems, and solve problems under pressure weather is just as essential as reading the wind. So while learning to sail is exciting, learning to maintain is what keeps the adventure going. There's a romantic vision that comes with living on a sailboat. Sunsets from the cockpit, coffee at anchor, a life of freedom and simplicity. And while those moments absolutely exist, the full-time live-aboard lifestyle comes with its own set of challenges that don't make it into the glossy brochures. Space is limited, everything must have a purpose, and even the smallest mess can feel overwhelming. Privacy is minimal, and storage becomes a constant game of Tetris. Weather becomes something you don't just watch, you live through it. Rainy days mean damp clothes, closed hatches, and a cabin that can feel a bit too cozy. Hot days, they can turn your boat into a floating oven. Then there's the practical side. Laundry, groceries, trash, and water management all become more complicated. Hauling fuel, fixing leaks, dealing with condensation, and finding reliable Wi-Fi are regular parts of the routine. Relationships can be tested, and loneliness can creep in if you're cruising solo or far from home. Living aboard is an incredible lifestyle, but it's not an endless vacation. It's real life, just afloat. And knowing that going in can help you build a setup and a mindset that truly supports the dream, not just chases it. One of the most overlooked costs in boat ownership is where you're going to keep the thing when it's not out sailing. Whether it's a marina slip, a mooring ball, or a dry storage yard, the fees can add up fast, and that's just for keeping the boat stationary. Haul-outs for maintenance, hurricane storage, or winter layup come with their own charges, and those aren't optional if you want to protect your investment. Marina fees vary wildly by region, season, and boat size. In popular cruising grounds or near big cities, you could be paying the equivalent of rent just for a place to tie up. Even on the hard, you'll likely pay for space by the foot, plus charges for blocking, lifting, and power. Then there's storage-related prep, covering the boat, winterizing systems, even paying for someone to check on it if you're not around. Over a year, these costs can sneak up and easily rival what you'd spend on fuel or gear upgrades. Planning for these logistics ahead of time and budgeting for them realistically can make a huge difference in how sustainable and enjoyable your boating experience turns out to be. Owning a sailboat means becoming a mechanic, electrician, plumber, and handyman all rolled into one. What surprises most new owners is just how many tools are required to keep things running smoothly. From simple fixes like tightening bolts or replacing a water pump impeller, to trickier tasks like rewiring a bilge switch or troubleshooting the fridge, having the right tools on board is essential. It starts with basics: screwdrivers, wrenches, socket sets. But before long, the collection grows to include multimeters, heat guns, torque wrenches, pipe cutters, epoxy kits, and marine sealants. Then there's the parts: fuses, spare impellers, hose clamps, belts, gaskets, light bulbs, and you'll want duplicates of the stuff you can't afford to be without. The tricky part? You've got to store all that in a confined space, organized enough to find what you need quickly when something fails. And believe me, things never fail at a convenient time. Tools might not be glamorous, but they're the backbone of a reliable cruising life. Building a good toolkit is an investment in self-sufficiency and peace of mind, because out at sea, the only mechanic you've got is you. When you're shopping for your first boat, it's tempting to think speed is a major factor, especially if you're used to cars or performance gear. But once you're actually out on the water, comfort quickly becomes king. Most sailboats, especially cruising designs, aren't built for racing. They're built for handling well, being safe in rough seas, and keeping you happy over long distances. Fast boats can be more finicky, less forgiving, and often come with compromises, like less interior space or more complex systems. Meanwhile, a slower, heavier cruiser might get you there a few hours later, but you'll arrive relaxed, dry, and with your coffee still in the mug. Comfort includes things like motion at sea, noise levels, ease of moving around the deck, and how livable the cabin is underway and at anchor. Over time, these factors matter way more than shaving off a few knots. A boat that sails well in light wind, doesn't slam and chop, and feels stable at anchor will win your heart long after the thrill of top speed wears off. In the world of cruising, enjoying the journey always beats racing to the destination. Boat length often gets a lot of attention, especially from first-time buyers. But when it comes to living aboard or cruising for any extended time, the interior layout ends up having a much bigger impact on daily life than an extra few feet of waterline. How the space is divided, how much natural light comes in, and how easily people can move around all matter more than just size. A well-designed 35-foot boat can feel roomier and more functional than a poorly laid out 40-footer. Think about how many berths you actually need, how accessible the head is, whether the galley works underway, and if there's a comfortable place to sit and relax. Storage, ventilation, and access to systems for maintenance are just as important. For solo sailors or couples, extra cabins might just become clutter magnets. For families, privacy and designated sleeping areas might be essential. And don't underestimate the value of a proper nav station or a cozy saloon where you can spend time when the weather keeps you below deck. In short, how you live on the boat should guide your choice more than just length or looks. Layout affects comfort, usability, and your overall happiness on board. One of the biggest realizations new boat owners come to is that the perfect boat doesn't exist. Every design comes with trade-offs: speed versus comfort, storage versus living space, shallow draft versus stability. What matters most is finding the boat that fits your style, your sailing plans, and your personal needs. It's easy to get caught up in reviews, forums, or dockside opinions. Everyone has their own idea of what makes a great boat. But what works for a weekend coastal cruiser might not suit someone planning to cross oceans. Likewise, a boat ideal for a couple might not work for a family of 4 or someone sailing solo. Focus on what really matters to you. Will you be sailing in cold or warm climates? Are you comfortable with maintenance-heavy systems, or do you want something simple and rugged? Will you be on the move constantly or staying put in one spot for long stretches? Understanding your priorities and being honest about them will help you make peace with the compromises. In the end, the right boat is the one that gets you out there, keeps you safe, and makes you excited to cast off the lines again and again. Buying your first boat is a big step and an even bigger adventure. It's easy to get swept up in the excitement, but knowing what you're really getting into makes all the difference. These 10 lessons aren't meant to scare you off. They're here to help you step aboard with clear eyes and steady footing. The right boat, a bit of planning, and a whole lot of patience can turn that dream into a lifestyle you'll never regret. Thanks for tuning in. See you out on the water.